Hi, everybody. Sherry Leopold here. I'm so excited because I get to be in the presence of two of my fellow authors of the new book, Finding Your Purpose. You're going to be able to grab a copy of that today, and I'm excited to share these incredible ladies with you. And I want to thank Renee Reich and Sally Green for joining me today. And I'm actually going to have them introduce themselves and tell them just a little bit about themselves and the name of their chapter inside Finding Your Purpose. And Renee, we're going to have you go first, if you would.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to share our voices together and speak about the book and our chapters. So, I'm Renee Reich. I am a women's life and leadership coach, and finding your voice is very important to me. I'm the founder of the Finding Your Voice Network and magazine. And finding your purpose really correlates with finding your voice because it's really who we are in life. We get to express ourselves, but sometimes along our journey, something happens. And in my journey, along my course of life, I lost my own voice. And I realized years later, many years later, that it was the loss of my voice in life that manifested in my health. And I was pulled out of my corporate job of 25 years, and it took a toll. It took a very big toll mentally, physically, emotionally. So when Linda came to me to be a co-author in this book, my chapter, of course, is Finding Your Voice. So I'm thrilled to be here with you and share our voices together. And as a woman's life and leadership coach, that's what it is about, speaking our voice and speaking up in life. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, I love that. And I love you, Renee. Thank you so much for sharing. Next, I want to introduce Sally Green. She is the Vice President of Action Takers Publishing, and she also has a chapter in this incredible book. So, Sally, tell us a little bit about you and what your chapter is, and we will get to know you.
Well, my job at Action Takers Publishing is to really help the authors to get their stories outside of them onto the paper and to bring their stories out into the world. And that's what I love doing. I love being able to help people share their stories and get them out into the world. So I did write a chapter for this book, Finding Your Purpose. My chapter is called Crossroads, and in it I talk about how when we get to those crossroads in life, when we have those rock bottom, so to speak, things that happen to us, that's when we step back, look at our lives, and say, okay, what is my purpose? And so it's that journey of finding your purpose, and when you hit that crossroads, deciding, okay, this is what the road I'm going to take, and this is what I'm going to start doing now.
Nice. And I think a lot of us find ourselves at crossroads, Sally. So I know a lot of people are going to be inspired by your chapter. My chapter is called Let's Do a Cannonball Together. And I'm not going to tell you what that means. You'll have to read it to find out if you want to do a cannonball with me. So, and you'd be like, that's so weird, but it is definitely explained in the book, so you'll have to grab that. I'm going to actually put the link because you can actually grab that book at actiontakerspublishing.com /purpose. So grab your copy now. It is available. We are so excited that you can take advantage of that. We have Sally, how many authors are actually in the collection?
I think there's 19.
19. You will be inspired at everyone. And because I've done other interviews, like none of them are the same. That is like one of the most amazing things about this. You can ask this question to 19 different people, how did you find your purpose? And it doesn't look the same at all. So that leads me to my next question. So I'm going to have you go, maybe we'll just stay on the screen right now. Renee, I want to ask you, first, you can answer first, but I want to ask, I know you had a life altering event, right? And you mentioned that when you introduced yourself, but do you feel like your purpose, so to speak, is something that you are born with, that you have, or is it something that you may find later or does it change? I'm just curious.
Great question. I will say that I believe we are born with it, but it's up to us to step into that purpose and to find it. It's like picking up the piece of the popcorn trail. It's there for us, but we find it through different courses that our life journey takes us. And that's how we own our, own our voice, own our life. And it's just that trajectory in which we're geared. I never in a million years thought I'd be an author. I wrote my own book, and then to be, I've co-authored in other books. So it's incredible. That was never on a bucket list. I didn't even have a bucket list of what I was going to do. I was in corporate America, and I spent 25 years there thinking that's where I was going to stay. And that's also where I got very ill. I'm not going to say it was the job that did it to me. You take responsibility for what you do and the choices you make in life. But it was me making some really poor choices in that role. And I would say, on course to what my purpose is today more than I ever was in my own life. So great question.
Yeah. And I think that, somebody put it to me as like, I realized yesterday, I'm like, oh, I was always a farmer. I was just planting those seeds of what that purpose was all the way along. Was just sprouting at different times. And then you go, look what's here. And then you spend time harvesting, that purpose. That was sort of the analogy that came to me yesterday. So, and I think it's an apt one, right? Like you say, it was in there and it just sort of came to be. Sally, I'd love for you to share your thoughts on that, if you would.
Yeah, I kind of think your purpose evolves as your life goes on. I think the purpose that I thought was mine when I was in my 20s is different now that I'm in my 60s. I think it's kind of like an onion, and it just keeps revealing different layers and different layers. And I was still doing the same stuff, but now it's at a totally different level. So I always knew that I wanted to teach. I always knew that I wanted to write. I've been a writer since I was little. So coming to the publishing in the writing sphere for me was just a natural progression, and it was just an unfolding. But it wasn't something that I was constantly in search of until I hit, and I talk about until I hit that crossroads, and I stopped because you get, life happens and you get caught up in just doing the daily things that you forget to go after your purpose. You forget to dream. You stop dreaming. So it's picking up those dreams again and going after them, and that's where you're going to find your purpose.
I love that. And yesterday Christine said it's always been part of her. It's that thread in the DNA of her that sort of keeps everything together, no matter what she was doing. It was that single thread that led everything to where she is. And I was like, that really made sense to me because I was a cheerleader in high school, like always rooting for the team to win, right? And like that's what I'm literally doing in my life today, just in a different way, like this, cheering and wanting you guys to win, right? And wanting the book to win, and for people to understand that they too can win by following people who are winning, right? And standing in their purpose. So it's interesting how that does, and it's looked different along the years, but the same, idea of what I've been doing has just been slightly different. So I love that whole evolution of how that happens specifically for us, right? And in our own lane. So Renee, I want to ask you, what do you feel like is the major thing that you want somebody to take away from that has read your chapter? What do you want them to leave feeling?
To never give up, believe in themselves. So often we lose that belief in ourselves and the trust because of things that happen in our life. I can speak for myself, and I gladly will, and I'm happy to have a voice to speak for myself. That in my own life, I lost that faith in myself. I lost that trust and that belief. We get so used to scrolling, especially, on social, and seeing what everybody else is doing. But when you stay in your own lane and you stay focused on what your trajectory is, we don't often know. And just like Sally was saying, it's like peeling back the layers of the onion. I too was in a job that I thought I was going to stay in forever. And then it took me on a different path. So it's the evolving that we're constantly doing. Every day is a new chapter, whether you're an author or not. It's a new chapter in our life that we get to edit if we choose to. We can rewrite the script whenever we choose to. So the takeaway, what I would like the reader to get is really to trust, have faith, and believe in themselves and their own journey, and to not compare themselves to other people. Because, you know, I wrote an article last year for a magazine, and it was about people's real life versus their real life, the REEL versus the REAL. If we get caught up on social media on people's REEL, the real that they are putting out there, no one often knows what goes on behind the scenes. You see what people want you to see, but what about all the pain it took to get there? What about the journey of finding their voice and finding their purpose in their life? That isn't always easy, and many times, and quite often, it's very painful. But we don't show that. I think being authentically you and showing the bumps and the bruises and the scratches along the way in your journey in life makes you more relatable. We're human. You know, we have things happen like anybody else does. And like I said, it's the evolvement and just putting yourself out there. It's scary, yes, but I think it's worth it in the end.
Thank you, Renee. And I believe that is 100% correct. And you know, that real life versus the real life, you know, sometimes people will say, oh my gosh, you're doing all this. You know, I have a lot of things that go on that aren't great too. It's just that they aren't in the highlight reel necessarily, not because I'm ashamed of them or anything, but because it's not what I want to uplift people with, right? So it just happens to be not what I'm sharing. Not that I wouldn't share parts of it or things like that, like Sally and I dealing with older parents and things like that. And you too, actually, all three of us. And, you know, caring for them and the challenges that come with that. You know, maybe it's not part of our daily REEL, but it is definitely part of our real life. And I think that's the thing that's inspiring really in these, is just still being able to stand in what your God-given purpose is, yet still be able to be present for those other parts of your life like that. So, Sally, how about you?
Yeah, you know, I want people to know that, you know, there are times when you're going to feel overwhelmed with things that are going to go on in life. There's times when you're going to be at that crossroads, at a place where you're going to look at your life and say, what is all this for? And that's the time for you to maybe look back at the things that you've done in your life and the things that you've grown through, and how can they help you move you into the future. I think about the jobs that I had when I was younger, and you know, the job that I had in high school, typing purchase orders, helped me to become a better, working on websites and now, and speaking in front of people, and teaching classes and stuff like that. Things that I learned throughout my whole life. I'm using a lot of those skills today. So to think about what skills you have, what things you've done, and how can you use that to further yourself and to do something that you're going to enjoy doing for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it's true. It goes back to the little seeds, right? Being the farmer, they were all just seeds, just waiting to sprout and help you out in the harvest later. So, and I do want to take a moment just real quick to remind you to pick your copy up of Finding Your Purpose at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. Do that right away. You're not going to want to miss it. And before we close out, I really want to ask each one of you, if the two of you would just, we'll go with Renee first. I want you to share with people how they can get in contact with you. I know you have a phenomenal platform, which I am honored to be part of. Thank you. And I'm going to allow you just a minute to share what that is, or how they can get in contact with you and find out more about that, Renee.
Oh, absolutely. Sherry, thank you so much. Yeah, you can really, my link tree's got all my links on there. So go to um, Renee Reich, was it linktree.com/Renee Reich. So we'll put that in the notes. It's LINK, what is it? LANKTR.ee. There it is. LANKTR.ee/Renee Reich. And my calendar link is there. My Facebook community is there. And we're encroaching on about 1,000 people in there. I've got the Finding Your Voice Network platform, which Sherry indicated she's on. I'm grateful to have her as one of my VIPs there. So please reach out. You can also email me at Renee@ReneeReich.com. So Renee@ReneeReich.com, and put in the subject heading Finding Your Voice, so I'll know it's about this, and Finding Your Purpose, rather, so I'll know it's from this interview. And I'm happy to connect with you. It's all about genuine connections, and it's something that I look forward to doing all the time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee. And Sally, how about you?
You can go over to actiontakerspublishing.com/Sally, and you'll find all different ways to connect with me. There's a free download of a couple of books that I offer. There's information on coaching with me. There's information on how to get into the different books. And if you are interested in sharing your story in one of our books, how to connect with me and make that happen.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to take this opportunity to say you can connect with me at sherryleopold.com, and you can book some time to talk with me or check out some of the things I'm doing. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that I am so appreciative of everything that actiontakerspublishing.com has done for me and the experiences that I've had. And if you are thinking about writing a book or sharing or writing a chapter in a book, I highly encourage you to reach out to Sally or Linda at actiontakerspublishing.com and get yourself into the community. The community is phenomenal. It is a great way to make new, powerful, incredible, inspiring friends that will last a lifetime. And I can't say enough about being a collaborative author with actiontakerspublishing.com. I want to say thank you to my guests so much. Thank you, Renee. You know, I adore you. Sally, I adore you as well. Thank you so much. Go grab your copy of Finding Your Purpose at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.